Welcome to Digital Dialogues. I'm Steve Marion, your host, and I have a special guest today, Hassan Ali, the Director of Facilities at the Ritz Carlton Hotel. How are you today, Hassan?
I'm very good. Yourself? Thank you very much for inviting me.
Great, absolutely. And it is indeed Friday, so I'm even more overjoyed than I
Yeah.
normally would be. Let's get right into it. The first thing I'd like to ask you is, where are you from? Where did you get your start?
I'm originally from Pakistan, but haven't lived much of my life there because I slowly moved to Dubai near my teenage times and never looked back in a way because that's where the life actually started for me. I did my high school there, then got an opportunity in Scotland, Edinburgh, and did my mechanical engineering from Heriot Ward University. And yeah, then came back, and that's where hospitality started, but we can dig deep into that later on.
Yeah. No, that's great. Dubai. It's funny. My daughter was just there several weeks ago.
Yeah.
She went down there with some friends and they hung out in Dubai for a little bit. Great. So let me ask you, Hassan, can you share a defining moment from your career that significantly shaped your approach to facilities management?
Like how I started doing mechanical engineering, it was a bit of a shift for me because I really want to go in a Formula One and I want to be an engineer in Formula One. And I was looking towards that path in my career. And I suddenly came on a job opportunity as an engineering voyager in Dubai in a JW Marriott Marquis, which is actually the tallest hotel in the world at that time. I got an offer letter. I said, let me give it a try. And I started my career as an engineering voyager. And I think that's when the defining moment started for me because I was not aware of this industry at all. I had no idea how much challenging this industry can get and how much work that goes inside there. So going as a voyager, being handed books again to start reading, that was a time I was like, am I really at the right job? And I really had to be like, maybe this is something not for me. I just graduated from university. I've been handed more books to study now. And at that point, I was like, maybe facility management is not for me. But then again, mentorship played a very crucial role in my career. That's when a mentor who was the director of engineering picked up something for me. We were doing a renovation of two restaurants on the 71 and 72nd floor. And he said, Hassan, why don't you go and overlook these projects? Me having a mechanical engineering degree and not knowing much about facilities, maybe people would think it should go hand in hand, but it was more of a practical work than me doing all the studies behind. So for me, again, a big paradigm shift. And I think that was the real defining moment where I actually understood what a facility management is and how much of a construction knowledge is required. And a lot of learning actually came from there, from that career and from that project.
Oh, okay. That is a heck of a start for you.
Yeah.
Now, how do you foster a culture of collaboration and innovation within your team at the Ritz Carlton?
Teamwork, collaboration is one of our core values as well here. So as a team, we like to make sure that, and me as a leader, of course, want to have teamwork in a way because having a lean team, we are a total of 10 engineers at the property. And it does get tough in some situation and a teamwork is very vital for the hotel as well. And the way we do it is managing our task. We do have a lot of tools in the industry right now that we are currently using to make sure how we plan our day. And the way we plan our day tells us how much of a teamwork and collaboration is required. But not only engineering that comes as a teamwork, is the other hotel employees that actually combine in together to come as a teamwork as well. When we have situation, when you get a pipe bust, when you get a sprinkler bust, water leak or whatever. That's when everyone comes together. It's a pride they carry already in the hotel industry. So sometimes you don't even have to ask for it. They are already very interested to come and help the team and everything. But the way we collaborate is just having that constant meetings and those constant updates to know what we are going, what our projects are, and that's how the teamwork starts for us.
Oh, that actually dovetails into a nice little segue into my next question, which is facilities management often involves a lot of behind the scenes work. You've highlighted a little bit already. How do you ensure your team's efforts are recognized and valued?
It is very important. In Ritz Carlton, we call it the first class. It's something when you do a fantastic job at work, you give a first class card. It's a recognition that you give to an employee. And I tend to use them a lot for my team. We had very recently a VIP event, for example, at the hotel, where we have to do a lot of furniture removals and everything at the hotel. And engineering really contributed going there, removing furniture from guest room, making sure everything is in line. So all that effort, you have to recognize the team for that great job they have to. And the team, being a lean team, they are maximized to their full time schedule already. So they are working even back to back on projects and taking care of the guest. I make sure that we do a quarterly meetings where they are recognized. Then we do have programs where it's called a 5-star. We recognize them through 5 stars, where you put the recognition name, whoever you want to recognize, and according to the work they have done and everything, they get recognized accordingly, and they get a prize, they get a certificate. So again, there's a lot of background work that goes in. I always say that engineering is a backbone, facility management of a hotel or anything. It's like unsung heroes. Nobody sees the work because it's all behind the scene. And to get those people recognized tends to become hard because they are not recognized by a guest or a client because it's all behind scene. So it's a leader's job to actually recognize them and actually portray how much of a hard work that is going on behind that scene.
Got it. Yes, and that's definitely certainly great leadership qualities right there to make sure that you do recognize the hard work of your team and show that you appreciate their value. What would you say has been the most challenging project that you've worked on, and how did you and your team overcome the obstacles?
At this hotel, we were doing a chiller replacement, and the chillers were actually original. So it was a 91 built hotel, chillers being original. And of course, at a certain point, they start giving up. So I believe that time was very challenging. It's just we don't have a chiller. Weather is hot in Virginia. A lot of guest complaints. You're running chillers manually. At one point, we have to rent a chiller, run piping to that chiller outside. Become very challenging. And as a hotel industry, we do have a survey that goes to guests and they rate us and all that. And the score were going pretty downwards towards those time. And at that point, we collaborated with our ownership to fund us for new chillers. Now, funny story, we did get new chillers. Of course, they being the demand, and I'm talking after COVID times, is the parts delay, all that manufacture delays. These chillers are now weeks out. So challenging time being managing with those existing chillers, having a rented chiller at those times, team constantly monitoring because they were not on a BMS. So they are constantly monitoring those chillers, checking the temperatures and all that. So it's around the clock kind of way team is checking everything. So everyone's contribution was very vital during that time. Then we got a new chiller. Then the new chiller came, had some other issues in them, had some tubes busted already inside them. So we had to send the other chiller back for repair, running with a brand new one chiller. So ultimately, we are talking a couple of months of facing those challenging times, but the team did fantastic. They really managed those times. We did get some reviews that was
Hmm.
not great, but again, in those times, you have to make sure that if the team wouldn't be monitoring, we would have even bigger disasters at those times.
Got it. Now, you mentioned COVID. Obviously, COVID-19 was a pandemic that impacted the world, right? And so, how has the COVID-19 pandemic influenced your role and the strategies you employ in facilities management?
So during COVID time, I was working at one of the Marriotts, and when the actually COVID hit, there was a very crucial time of people actually being laid off
Mm.
because of the situation of COVID. And our industry really got a big impact as well, where we were laying off people during those times. And it actually became very difficult because your own job was at jeopardy, that are you going to be working or not? And we were lucky enough that our hotel got converted as a place to reside doctors and nurses.
Mm.
And we were right next to a conference center. They converted the conference center to a hospital during COVID times.
Wow.
So we kept our jobs at that time, but again, very crucial. But it changed a lot of things. The team sizes that I used to work with before COVID are much bigger team sizes. And I think COVID also reduced that team sizes and maximized workload with that team size as well. We got lean teams and it never went back. So till now we discuss it. Pre-COVID time, we were making this much money, we had this much manning. I don't think so. It has still stabilized to the same manning levels. Revenue, yes, it has surpassed or is matching to those places, but haven't done it. A lot of operational changes. We have to move to filters. Let's talk about filters. You have to change the rating of the filters in the guest room. Your maintenance has to be much more upscale. You need to do much more of work, sanitizing, making sure everything is clean and all that. So I think that kind of thing is still there, not as big as it used to be during COVID time. But I think the way the filters have changed, the way the PMs are being done, all that is still there. And we actually got more, we do PMs on a software, so we got more questions that are related to COVID now. And it still goes on to make sure that it doesn't happen again. Any outbreak, what's the protocol if a guest has a COVID, all that. So everything changed soon after the COVID hit.
Nice, nice. You certainly sound like preparedness was at the
Yes.
top of the list of things for you guys, as well as it should be. Now, the hospitality industry is constantly evolving. How do you and your team stay adaptable and ready to face new challenges?
Well, I am a big fan of technology myself. I want to make sure that whatever we have, we are up to date with what's happening around. The business has changed significantly. The clientele have changed significantly. The luxury itself have changed significantly. So you need to go with that pace as well. And the way we adopt is first making sure that we have the right technology. We are not running on the same way the hotel was run years ago. Giving example, our hotel was running on pneumatic system with compressors. There was technology out there to convert your BS to DDCs, and we actually slowly start doing that. And that actually removed a lot of hassles. Now you have technology that is there that you can monitor your alarms already. If we wouldn't have done it, we would be still facing challenges. Give you one small example. Our hot water has a alarm in there right now that if my hot water does go from a certain temperature we have set to below, before a guest could actually tell us that there's no hot water in the room, we already get an alarm on our mobiles and on our emails. And it's all across the engineering team. They get an alarm, they quickly go check the boilers, check the ADMS, the mixing station, and just make sure, just resolve it before a guest could complain. Again, if we don't adapt to these things, we will be still facing those issues. We'll be still going back and searching what's happening. So to be adaptable, you need to run with technology and making sure you have everything latest and keep up with that.
Now, I'm sure that you spend a lot of hours at work just by the very nature of your role there within the Ritz Carlton. So with that, outside of work, what hobbies or activities help you recharge and bring balance to your life?
Yeah, the work does become very overwhelming. There are times you don't have those luxury to do hobbies and all that. I am a big fan of soccer. I love to watch, love to play, and teaching my son some sports as well. So my son is a 5-year-old, teaching him some new sports. We play baseball, something new for me as well, knowing the rules and everything. But I try to get into sports, get him more involved in sports as well. Love doing photography. I used to do a lot of photography back in those times. I got a drone and do drone photography as well. There are places you can't fly it, but it's still my passion. Still, when I get a chance, do drone photography and into fitness as well, going gym, working out, and all that whenever I get time.
Stay healthy. Got to stay
Yep.
healthy. So, how do you envision the future of facilities management, especially in terms of technology and innovation?
As I talked earlier, I don't think so people understand how much of a big role that is being in facilities. And it's on a funny side, when I used to ask my sister, do you know what I do? And she used to tell me, I fix elevators. And because every time we used to have a conversation, I'm always talking about elevators, and she thought I just do elevators. But it's a lot bigger than what elevator is. And how I envision, there are a lot of technology out there. There's a lot of things that is coming up in facilities that needs real thinking behind it, first of all, but also with how the sustainability is going, how you are going towards your net zero carbons, the pollution and all that. That's where the technology and the mind should go of a facility manager, how he can make his building more sustainable, right? What are the low cost, no cost projects you are doing to reduce your energy cost, sustainable solutions, all that. And I think our technology and what a facility manager should look for is towards that sustainability side of it. Because if we are not going towards that side, again, we are going to be those traditional buildings that's not creating that impact, not achieving those goals that we have. As a Marriott, we do have a goal for 2050, zero net carbon. And to achieve that goal, we need participation for more than 7,000 hotels all around the world right now. And a property like my size, or a property which is 1,500 bedrooms, if they are not making those impacts, we're going to fail in that goal. I think it's everyone's priority. And I believe all across a lot of companies have the same priority, but the work needs to be done yesterday. We still have time. And yes, I think towards that, and I think all the facility managers out there are thinking about that same thing.
I absolutely agree with everything you just said. It's not too late. Like you said, you got to start yesterday, and we can get there. That said, there is one question that I always ask because I think it's ultimately important and the foundation of these podcasts for us, which is to educate and inspire. And with that, I would ask you, what advice would you give to someone aspiring to enter the field of facilities management?
It's a fantastic field. As I mentioned earlier, I never thought that this field was the right fit for me. You got to hold on. This is something, a hands-on kind of job. It's something that what have you learned in your university as an electrical or mechanical engineer or anywhere as a certification. This is something in practical. You're going to see things and you can relate to all the studies that you have done. It's a fun job. It is something that once you see the results, you feel proud. Yeah. I have done some ROI projects and I've seen my energy going down. And when you see that, you feel proud that the project you have worked on from the very beginning with an idea to actually implementing and seeing those savings in front of you, it's a blessing. You really feel that energy. The job does get challenging, but then if you have the right tools, if you have the right training, and there are everything out there that is there to help, this can be a very fun work and a great learning ground for anyone that wants to be into facility management.
That is awesome. And as I said, the impetus for these podcasts are to educate and inspire. And I would say, based on our conversation today, Hassan Ali, you've done just that. Thank you very much for joining me here on Digital Dialogues today. I really appreciate the opportunity to learn more about you and your journey into facilities management.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much again, and have a great rest of your day.
You too.